Well, I mean, I've been kind of predicting that some of this would happen. I didn't exactly envision this particular one taking place. But I wonder what the apologists are going to have to say this time for the Black Lives Matter protesters and their recent desecration of different things in the town. So, before I go any farther, this might not be something that's going to happen everywhere. Maybe this is an isolated incident. I genuinely don't know. But I said when the whole statue issue started, next thing they're going to come after is going to be religion. And I don't think we've seen the peak of that yet. We've seen some of the Black Lives Matter protesters who I wasn't sure would be the ones to go after the religion. I didn't know they would be the ones, but I said someone will at some point down the line, right? Well, I mean, here it is. So, as it turns out, statues came first. Churches were starting to be targeted second. I've covered that. Now we're on to graves. Burial plots. Tombstones. Seriously? What the hell does that have to do with anything? Knocking down someone's headstone? Painting BLM across their headstone? Painting George Floyd across their headstone? You think that's helping your movement out? Really? I've been saying it this entire time. What's going on with this movement does not represent where the majority of America stands. And they just keep pushing it farther and farther and farther and farther along. That's seriously what they're doing. They're pushing this whole thing way far out there to the point that the average American wants nothing to do with what they're seeing in instances like this. The quote, Black Lives Matter. I think the average American has come around to that. But then they see the actions this group is taking, and they want absolutely nothing to do with it. I say that because I want nothing to do with it. And I represent a lot of blue-collar working-class Americans across this country. I find the desecration of someone's grave to be one of the most low, terrible, just absolutely disgusting things that you can do to someone. They're dead. And this isn't a statue. And this isn't George Washington's grave. This is just an ordinary man's grave. Or woman. And you're desecrating it. It absolutely turns my fucking stomach, seriously. Maybe some of you won't like what I'm about to say, but if you're defending this, your actions turn my stomach. If you can make a defense of them vandalizing someone's grave, your actions are seriously turning my stomach. Now, for those of you who want to know what I'm referring to, let me just show you a few pictures here.
Area in Anderson County has been hit by vandals, and deputies say it is not the first time. 7 News' Asia Wilson caught up with some of the people who had to clean up the mess.
People have been coming out here to Midway Presbyterian Church angry after hearing deputies say approximately 21 grave plots have been vandalized and spray painted with things like George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. After a series of incidents just like this in the county, people want the madness to end.
I was very, very worried. I just can't understand why.
That's how Carolyn Booker Knight felt when she heard the cemetery where her best friend was recently buried was vandalized this weekend.
Been friends with her 25 years, and I just thought that all this was destroyed.
The Anderson County Sheriff's Office says more than 20 headstones dating back to the 1800s were knocked over or spray painted with things like Black Lives Matter and George Floyd.
This one was pretty bad. It had Black Lives Matter.
Omar Rucker, the owner of Be Clean LLC, saw it firsthand when he came to clean it up just hours after it was reported.
Upset is just because it's wrong. You know, there's no excuse for it. And I hated that I had to come up here and do it.
It's not the first time Rucker used his own funds and materials to be a good Samaritan. He also scrubbed away similar markings at Siloam Baptist Church.
Whoever it is, they coming out here doing something wrong, I'm coming out here doing something right.
Investigators say they don't know a motive behind the cases and they don't know if they are connected. However, they already found some physical evidence from the latest incident.
It's our hope that we'll make an arrest at the conclusion of the investigation.
Deputies say some of the church's windows were busted out last year and was covered with Islamic markings. Although Booker Knight supports Black Lives Matter, she doesn't support anyone who commits crime and disturbs peace.
I'm so supportive, but I am not supportive of destroying property.
Now, the Anderson County Sheriff's Office says this case, along with other cases in the county, are still under investigation. They're encouraging anyone who knows anything to call Anderson County Crime Stoppers. In Anderson County, Asia Wilson, 7 News.
Deputies say the people who commit these kinds of crimes are breaking laws for desecration of graves or graveyards. They say if that damage exceeds $400, it's a felony. Someone found guilty could face up to 5 years in prison.
And you know what? Whoever it is, I hope they throw the book at that son of a bitch. Seriously. Because they deserve it. I gave my feeling on it. That's one of the most disgusting things you can do. In my opinion, anyway. That being said, I already know what some people are going to say about this. Oh, it probably wasn't actually Black Lives Matter. Could have even been some old white guy trying to make Black Lives Matter look bad, right? Or a lot of these protesters. Okay. If that's the case, I'll stand corrected. And the guy could have been white. I don't give a damn what color he is. Put that son of a bitch under the jail. Seriously, put him under the damn jail. And as far as I'm concerned. Because that's exactly where he deserves to be. He, she, whoever the fuck it is. You're nothing but scum. But here's the thing. Do I believe it could have been a lot of these protesters? Absolutely. They have no problem tearing anything down. Businesses that had nothing to do with George Floyd, where people go to work to make some kind of money and a living, nah, they'll tear that the fuck down. The statues, sure. Churches, I mean, yeah, they've already shown, and this is a church cemetery, right? So, this does not surprise me. I didn't expect it to hit cemeteries, but it does not surprise me. This is the kind of shit that I saw coming down the pipeline. Seriously. I didn't see that in particular, but I saw that it would lead to things like that being done. Now, to these people's credit, even the guy who volunteered to clean them was another black man. That shows you where most people stand on this. And I would even venture to say, a lot of people who are part of the Black Lives Matter movement do not support this in particular. But again, condoning the breaking of law and the destruction of property, you open the fucking window for people to do this shit and say they should be able to get away with it. You do. You might not agree with it when they do it, because you might say, oh, there's a difference, but not to these people. Not to the unhinged ones who are just out to tear shit up, which is what a lot of these people are out there to do. They've shown that. Seriously. They're just out there to run a fucking muck and tear shit up. And now they're doing it to grave plots and headstones. Absolutely disgraceful in my opinion. I mean, it really is sickening that this is what's going on. And to the left, you better wake up and learn that when a group does fucked up shit, you better hold them accountable for it. If you're that afraid that you're not going to win some kind of a political correctness contest that you just turn the other fucking way and look the other way and allow them to keep doing this bullshit, you're going to get lumped in with them. You're going to be considered an enabler, and you're going to go down on that sinking ship, and all the other policy you want, never going to happen.